Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Today you are seeing the same look from my last video because I'm filming them back to back because I am late on like all of my uploads because I took like a 2-week hiatus. What else is new? I just like vanish without saying anything so often anymore. So I do apologize. I started a new job. November is a very busy month for my family. We all apparently were born in November, and then I went on vacation with my parents down to their place in Florida. So it's been a long time coming for a lot of these updates, so hopefully you guys can bear with me. I know I'm a little late. I'm very late for this project. It's about 2 weeks past when I'd like to like get my new palettes and everything like that. So I'm not going to dilly-dally a whole heck of a lot. I am just going to show you the palettes that we were using. I don't have like tallies for anything, but I can tell you like the palettes that I did. One, I used every palette at least one time. I filmed a look using each of them. I will have the video linked in the cards and in the description below. I did like an almost full week of looks, and it was like 4 looks, one for each of the palettes. So let me know if you like that kind of style, or if you like one video for one palette and then another video for another palette. I could even do like a week of looks with one palette. That would be fine. Let me know what you'd like to see on my channel for this coming month, I guess. But the first palette, I've been waving it in the air, is the Kaleidos Sci-Fi Green palette. This is the Futurism one. This is discontinued, which I think is so stupid because this is so pretty. This is one of my all-time favorite palettes, and I'm so happy that I reached for it this month. I reached for every shade once. I think maybe barring the black shade, but I did reach for every single shadow in this palette at least one time over the past month, which made me happy. I forget how much I love this, and I want to continue to like reach for this more. I just need to like make sure I remember how wonderful this is. It's like one of those things where I'm like, I love it so much, I don't want to use it because I don't want to use it up, which is like so silly. That is like the silliest thing to do. It was my least used palette though, in all fairness. I used it for like the one look. It used all of the shades, and then I kind of just reached in it here and there for like a shimmer or two, but we'll go down the list of like what I used the most. My second least used palette was the Bare Necessities by Colourpop. Now I do love this palette, and I think it was perfect for starting a new job. We had a lot of just great neutral everyday shadows. I reached a lot into like this mauve tone row, which is not normally like my jam, this row here, but I was really feeling it. I was really feeling those mauve tones. And I'm really happy that I did reach for this palette as much as I did. The shade, what was that? All For You. Spree and All For You were like some of my favorite shades in that row. I reach for them quite often. But I had to like remind myself, I'm like, you're panning subcultures. Don't get sucked into any one of these palettes too long, kind of thing. The second most used palette was actually the Profusion Chocolates palette, and this was an exciting one. I ended up hitting pan in the shade Winter here during the duration of this in my rotation for the past month. I love this palette. Haley had gifted this to me last year. Thank you again, Haley. I love this palette. I need to reach for it more, especially since it has all these like way more shimmers to mattes, and especially since I'm panning an all matte palette at this point. This would be super, super useful. I have to like remind myself, like I feel like I have to remind myself on so many of these because I'm like, I just have a lot of eyeshadow, and I love playing with eyeshadow, and more eyeshadow is always like finding its way into my collection. So there's that. Then the most reached for palette, the most used palette was definitely my Juvia's Place, the Saharan Palette. So much so that I hit pan in five eyeshadows in this palette during the month, which is crazy. So I wrote them all down in order of what I hit pan in. So I'm going to just scooch in, get this nice and close to you. So the first shade I hit pan in was actually Bororo up here. This beautiful, man, the color is getting super washed out, so maybe I can't have it that close. So, sorry. We'll just go over here. So the first shadow I hit pan in was Bororo up here. Super gorgeous shadow. I was actually really surprised because it's not a shadow that I like to reach for a whole lot. It's just a very deep, like pinky kind of shadow. Not my normal go-to, but it was so pretty. I like tucked it on the lower lash line, tucked it on the outer corner. Then I hit pan in Iman, which is this guy here. It doesn't look like it, but I promise there is that glimmer of pan there. Really hard to see because the color of the pan is like the same color as the eyeshadow. Very icy silver. Hit pan, and that guy was super excited about that. Then 𝙈𝙪𝙨𝙚, I wasn't expecting to hit pan, but I did, and I was super happy about it. And then that made me, like, hitting pan after now in 3 shadows while this was in it, I was like, I can hit pan in more. I know for sure that I can, and I did. Obviously, I hit pan in 𝙁𝙤𝙀 next, which was this beautiful shade, and then we hit pan in 𝙈𝙪𝙨, this one down here. So I'm pretty darn happy about that. That's 6 eyeshadows in a 12 pan palette, so half of this is panned, which is just like wild to me that I panned half of this palette almost entirely in like a month's time frame, which was great. I also really liked having this out with Subculture because Subculture now is like an all matte palette for me. So pairing it with a bunch of these shimmers was super, super nice. And then I could obviously complement shadows in each of these palettes kind of together and like create cohesive looks, which was nice. So all in all, really happy of what I did in the month. That was 6 eyeshadow pans in like 1 month's time frame. That was really great. Now, there have been some things that have made its way into my collection the past month. We were a little spendy. It was my birthday month, and then November, as we all know, Black Friday happens. So we went a little, we didn't go like as hog wild as we could have, but we definitely bought some eyeshadow palettes. So my eyeshadow palette number has increased. I have now a total of 41 eyeshadow palettes. So we went up 4 palettes in a month, which is a lot. Especially, I haven't really been bringing a whole lot of eyeshadows into my collection this year, which is good, which has been really good. We've been buying singles here and there from Cleona, and that was really about it. So this past month, you treat yourself, you know? I treated myself. So I have 21 eligible palettes that have not been rolled into this project. So I am going to try to do the randomization like thing, but if I'm like, so like I don't have any desire to use the palette, I may just reserve the right to like veto and like next kind of a palette. So I have the numbers 1 to 21 now in here. So 17. That's exciting. Okay, 17. 9. What is 9? Ooh, okay, okay. Oh, I didn't show you. I'm sorry. 7. I'm not going to do 7. 7's a collection of singles. We don't need that right now. So 6, though, I will roll 6 in. And then the last one is 20. Okay. Okay, so actually thinking about it, I rolled a second palette that is now just a selection of singles. So I am going to re-roll for one of the numbers. I will tell you what the numbers were when we get to the palettes. So number 3, I am going to roll number 3. I do not want to work on number 3, but I will roll it in. So if you just saw my deck of panning update, I almost thought about rolling this new palette in for my prompt of like collecting cobwebs, but I'm sure no one really knows what that palette would be because no one like knows how I numbered these. So I will go down the list of what we rolled in first to what we rolled in last. So the first item, just the first number I rolled was number 17, and that actually correlates now with this beauty. This is the Natasha Denona Love palette. I ended up purchasing this on Black Friday. What are the odds, though, that we would roll in a brand new beautiful palette into this project? Now, I did do an eye look yesterday with this. That was my first time dipping into it with the shade Dreamy. That is Dreamy? Dream. I think Dream is one of those like cream to powder formulas. So it almost looks like it has hard pan. You can't see it. Very, very light. But I think that this is going to be so pretty, especially for like as we're getting cooler, as the snow is about to happen. This is going to be a great palette to focus on, and I cannot wait. So that'll be kind of, you'll be able to see what I can do in a month. And there's a lot of shadows in there that could pair with a couple, at least one of my Subculture shades can get some use out with these, and I'm really excited about that. Number 9, did we roll number 9 in? Yes. Okay, the next shadow was the next palette was number 9, and that actually correlated, and I've been thinking about this palette for a couple months now. my Prism palette by ABH. So I'm super, super excited about that. We have a couple pans in this palette already, but I am excited because there's a lot of shimmers in there. Again, a lot of shimmers that we can pair with Subculture. And as you all know, as I keep beating the horse, I'm trying to pan Subculture. So having like some of these shimmers that pair really well with it is going to be in my benefit. So I'm actually pretty darn excited, and maybe I could hit pan in like 1 or 2 shadows. Who knows? I feel like I could hit pan in this like transition blowout kind of shadow, and then maybe at least one of these like shimmers, maybe even, this is like my all-time favorite shade in this palette. It is so pretty, Dimension. I do not use it enough. That would pair really well with Mercury too. So there is that. Pretty darn excited about that. What's next? What's next? All right, we rolled number 7, which is like a magnetic arrangement of Colourpop singles. So we're not going to roll that one in. Then number 6, though, correlated with Lunar Lavender, another Kaleidos palette. This is the Futurism 6, and this is Lunar Lavender. Haley had gifted this to me again. Thank you, Haley. And this is going to be so pretty. Do we have a theme of like purple tones? Because we had the Love palette, which had like purple and pink. We have the Lunar Lavender, which is obviously very purple toned lavender. These shadows are so pretty. They're like toppery kind of shades, and I cannot wait to use them again in conjunction with either Subculture or even the Love palette. That'll look really good. Then we rolled number 20, which was again a collection of singles at this point. It's my Masquerade palette by Juvia's Place, which I depotted and made singles. So I just don't feel like reaching for that when I'm like building my own palettes and kind of reaching for them organically. So we re-rolled, and I kind of got a palette that I'm not super thrilled about for this time of year, but at the same time, I'm excited to see like what I can do with it. That is this guy. This is the Creepy Cute palette by, it was Strobe, but now it's Shroud. I'm like, what am I trying to say? So this was by Shroud Cosmetics. This is the Creepy Cute palette. It's a great pastel matte palette. You have a great gray and a really intense black, but this will pair well with everything else. It'll either blend out shadows really nicely, it can be paired with my Subculture really nicely, and it can obviously be paired with especially Lunar Lavender and the Love palette. It'll go really well, like the pink, the orange, this like purple shade. It'll look really good, and I'm excited about it. This probably will get the least amount of use, if I'm being quite honest, but that's okay. One palette had to draw the short straw, so to speak, and it just happens to be the last one I drew. But that is it. Those are the palettes that I will be working on for the next month, and I'm pretty darn excited about it. Let me know if you want to see like individual, like 1 week, 1 palette kind of looks, or like a week of looks with one of the palettes, or if you want me to do the same thing that I did last month, which is like a week of looks using each one, or if you just want to see individual looks with the palettes. Let me know. I'm happy to film it. I am trying to get back on a routine, back on sketch. But yeah, that is it. That is everything for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching and bearing with me in my like, is she going to disappear? Is she going to be back? Who knows? But yeah, that is it. That is everything for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye!